off. My internet looked very strong today, so I'm hoping that this will... Oh, what the hell? Okay, well, apparently I can't log into the chat, so we'll just turn that off. I would have to re-log in to the stream, so we just won't have the chat. It's weird how it does that because it keeps my credentials in my software so that I can stream to Twitch, but anything like adding the chat back in, it forces me to sign in again, which I don't really care for. Okay, what are we going to have here? We're going to have some resources. We're going to have uh, scarcities and abundance. And we're going to have lore and community. And what else? What else did we have? Problems? We have to set up the whole board again. Okay. So, last I remember, we had chosen to have cyberpunk be the genre. We didn't get very far. Um, do we want to continue with the cyberpunk setting, or do we want to revote on the setting and just start over? Okay. So this is a game, just as a reminder for everyone, this is a game of basically survival. We are representing a group of, well, in this particular setting, I guess we're going to be outlanders. We're supposed to be sort of in like a wilderness area. So for the cyberpunk setting, we're kind of outside the city. We're outside the sprawl. You know, the mega cities have built up. They're just these huge congested areas of urban sprawl, and we've kind of escaped that. We're out of the system. We don't really we can go into the sprawl as part of the story, but this area that we are in out here is outside of the urban centers, kind of a lawless wasteland, I guess. So, as such, we now need to determine what resources are in the area, as well as some of the land features. So, I guess we'll start with that first. Um, Everyone, give me a feature to put on the map and what coordinate on the grid you would like me to put that in. And so now that we're in a cyberpunk setting, this can also be a very futuristic area as well. Okay, and where are we putting the rolling hills at? Think of Blade Runner. Blade Runner is a pretty good example of cyberpunk. Or Shadowrun. Okay, so let's start off with some Rolling hills. It's a little bit big. Come in here and say rolling hills. And we will make that the same color. Okay. Stream in the upper right. And then we'll get a city down in the southeast. Hey, Caleb. So we're going to have a stream up here. Caleb, give me a land feature and a location on the map that you would like it. Yeah, an Android factory would work. Where do you want that? So a massive, completely polluted corporate city in the southeast. Okay, I'll put a fringe on that. I won't put the actual full city on the map. We'll just kind of show a corner of it. This will be sort of the corporate sprawl down here. With let's see, let's make a bunch of buildings and the setting is cyberpunk, by the way, Caleb. Yes. Okay. So we'll do corporate city sprawl, and this will just be sort of the edge of the city. Okay. So what else were we missing? The Android factory near the corporate city. Okay. So I'll put the Android factory. Maybe a little bit on the outskirts here. Let's say. So let's do that. Let's just say this in orange. So we'll say this is the abandoned Android factory. Okay. Are we still having sound issues? Okay. Well, while we're waiting for Caleb here, let me add a bunch of music to our setting here. I'll do Dying World, Cyberpunk Bar, Cyberpunk City, Robotics Lab, Outpost 31, sure. Dark Future, that's probably enough. Pull the music down just a little bit. Okay, get some ambience. A very sparse dusting of plant life in the far west, okay? South-ish, so we'll say it up in here, how about? Let's do a little bit of... Boy, these... this is not easy to draw in. So we'll say some... Put this down here. Okay, and so we'll say plant life over here. Okay. So, where are we located? Where is our base on this map? It can be near one of these places, or just sort of like central, or wherever. Now, out here, seeing as how this is still sort of like a postmodern era, just because this is all blank doesn't mean there's not stuff out here. Obviously, this is what we will explore, but we could say that we are out here in some little, uh, abandoned urban area or whatever. I mean, we just need to sort of have a camp, a base camp for ourselves. We could even be located over here on the outskirts here. We just for having a relative location. It could just be right smack dab in the middle. So the story so far is that we're basically just kind of like outlanders. In in the Shadowrun fiction, and I don't remember if this is just like a cyberpunk trope from Neuromancer or not, but so in the the Shadowrun fiction, there's people called sinless, and sin stands for security identification number, something like that. Basically, it's for people who live in a city. They have a like an ID chip that allows them to basically act like a credit card. So, like all their identification is on there, their employment number, all their personal information is in their sin chip. And so the sinless are basically the people that live outside of the city. They're not quite outlaws, but it's very frontier town like. They're just kind of they're I don't know. I guess that's think about like the Wild West. They're basically anarchist living on their own. I mean, not necessarily anarchist, but they're not part of the corporate structure that the megacities have become. So I guess in that sense, that's sort of where we're at. And so with the theme of the game, we have to remember that in wintertime, somebody comes for us. So I guess maybe we are outlaws. Maybe we're a bunch of punks and hackers and whatnot, and we're hiding. Eventually, we know that whatever corporation runs the town is eventually going to be looking for us out here somewhere. So we need to hunker down and find, or it could be a rival gang. I didn't actually think of the story for this one, but something's going to happen that we are going to have to face our situation here in winter. This is actually kind of a weird theme for this. I think the official Quiet Year story is sort of a post-apocalyptic thing, but I don't know. I haven't actually thought about a tickling monster. A gang of tickle torturers are gonna come and find us. Okay, well, I'm gonna put our camp right here in the middle. We'll just say that. And if we need change our minds, we can always move. Remember that. We can pick up and move just like last time. Right now, this is where we find ourselves. We're out here in the middle of this area. Okay, so before we can continue playing, we've got to do two more things. We need to come up with some resources, and then figure out which one of those is going to be in abundance and which one is going to, the rest are going to be in scarcity. So, give me a resource that we will have available, and I will find this wheel of names. There we go. Center in the southwest corner. Okay. What is this? Okay, scrap metal. Let me see here. I also need to. So there was Draw cards. Advance projects. And then we have a list of actions. Trying to remember the rules here. We discover something new. We create a project, or have a discussion. Then we do objections. Okay, so actually let me do this instead. Oops. Step 2. So step 3 is actions, and step 4 is objections. Okay. Sorry, where are we at here? Scrap metal. So we have a fruit stockpile somewhere. We have stolen microchips. Eating our abundance of horses. Moss. Any fishes? And weapons. Pocket Ninja, are you still here? I need a resource so that we can pick an abundance or a scarcity. Mushrooms. Oops. Mushrooms, okay. So we'll spin the wheel. Mushrooms. Oh, what? Mushrooms, okay. So we'll spin the wheel. Mushrooms. Oh, what? Let's see. I had, sorry, I had the stream unmuted suddenly. So weapons. Weapons is the abundance. And everything else is going to be a scarcity here. Weapons, that's not it. Okay, scrap metal, fruit. So in our camp, we've managed to find, let's go ahead and say it's canned fruit. That way it doesn't rot immediately and we can maintain it. Microchips and mushrooms. Oh, Jesus. I can't. Okay. So, in our little camp, in our area that we've found outside the city, we've brought with us quite a bit of weapons. Maybe that's what we've stolen. Maybe that's we stole a whole weapons cache from the corporate military here, and eventually they're going to come track us down. We've brought with us, or we have in our area, we have found a bit of scrap metal for our usage. But remember, these are in scarcity. They're still resources, but we don't have a lot of it. We also found a nice little cache of fruit, canned fruit. so we can at least have some food. And there's also microchips here as well. And we've got mushrooms. We've got mushrooms growing in the area. Maybe there's a tunnel or a bunker or something that we're hanging out in. And there's some mushrooms we can pick too. Okay, so to... Can I pick this up, please? What's going on here? Actually, I'm going to get rid of that because it's heavy on my resources. Okay, so to recap how all of this works, every turn we go through 52 weeks, and every turn we draw a card here, which then has some event that we have to choose, and we'll go in turns down this list here. So the first thing we do is draw a card. An event happens that we then have to deal with. And then if we have any projects going, that's another thing I need to make a card for. If we have any projects going, that advances forth. And then an action needs to be taken. And that action can be one of three things. It can be either starting a project, which is basically we decide that we're going to do something, build something, work on something, and it's going to take a certain number of weeks, which we determine with these dice here. Another thing we can do is go and discover something new. That could be a discovery here on the map, or it could be pertaining to a certain area. Say, like we've already discovered that there's an android factory out here, but we could discover something in the android factory. There's also problems and things that we learn that we might be able to discover something about. Maybe like there's something that we learn has been going on in the android factory. And so just like we learn more about the concept, the discovery is kind of loose in that regard. And then the third thing we can do is have a discussion. And the way a discussion works is we bring up a topic, like let's say it's more of a guideline for what we would like the community to do. So a discussion could be somebody opens up, I want to go and explore the android factory. And then everyone else gets basically a one-sentence contribution to that of what they would like to do on that topic, or what So the discussion then might be like, well, we should recover something from the androids, or we should just scrap whatever we find, or whatever. So basically, it's just a discussion, a guideline for what the group is going to do. It is not in itself an actual action. It doesn't necessarily show that that's what we're doing. It's a discussion about something, just like I said, to give a guideline to potential future projects and that sort of thing. After we do that, there is a system in the game for objections. And so if somebody during their turn picks an action that you don't like, you can whisper me in chat that you would like to object, and I will note that by taking one of these little marbles and putting it in the bowl here. And this will show everyone that the things that are going on in this group are not well liked. The more balls that end up in here, basically this shows the more dissatisfaction and contempt for the direction everything's going in. Now what this is actually going to be for, though, is that when you whisper me that you object to somebody's action, you don't necessarily have to use this right away, but what you can use these for is to block an action or create a complication. So if there's a project going, like build our own android, for example, and you think that's a waste of time and resources, maybe you can sabotage it a little bit. Again, whisper me that you want to do that, because these are all going to be kind of secret from each other. And then I will either maybe set the project longer, or something happens that completely destroys the project, or whatever. You get to decide what happens when you use these points. I think that's all about the game, right? Yeah. Okay. So everyone clear on how the game works? I think Davy Jones, you're the only one that wasn't here last time. Okay. Well, why don't we begin then? So we'll start with Untamed Fox. We'll start off in spring. So, oh yeah, yeah. The object of the game again is that we progress through this year, and each season is represented by a suit of cards. When we pull the King of Spades in winter, the game ends, and that can happen at any time. Okay, so anyway, first thing happening for spring. Shuffle the deck here. And the first event we face is the 4. Wow, I'm already starting off strong here. What important and basic tools does the community lack? Or where are we storing food and why is this a risky place? Yeah, actually, didn't you do this? Wasn't this like the first one last time as well? Because of your wheelbarrow thing? Okay. So, what makes it a risky place to keep our stuff stored there? I see that the stream is chunking along here. So I'll put. Okay, so it's just kind of, well, that makes sense because the factory is kind of far away from where we're currently at. We can move over there, but so basically we're going to say that we're keeping our food in the factory because there's refrigeration units and all that, but it is exposed. It's not a secure location. Okay. So let's say we got a problem here for insecure food storage that we may need to help. It is currently stored over in the factory, but it's a problem because it's insecure. Okay, so we don't have any projects to advance, so now we move on to the actions. What would you like to do? Okay, so is that going to be a discovery, or do you want to start that as a project? Okay, we are going to spend 3 weeks. Let's see. Study Western plant life. Grab this. Drop it down there. Okay. Let me get this out of here. And fourth step, does anybody object to what we're doing right now? It's a little bit early for that sort of thing, but I'll give it, I don't know, let's say 30 seconds. I'll wait at the end of every round, just in case someone wants to whisper me. Okay, moving on to the next round. Pocket Ninja. The Ace. What group has the highest status in the community, and what must people do to gain inclusion to this group? Or, is there a distinct family unit in the community, and if so, what family structures are common? So yes, just a reminder, we are not the only members of this group. We are also sort of like in a group of like 50 to 60 members, so we're kind of in a band of people here. I should record audiobooks. I could do that. I wonder how you get into that. Is that going to be the next segment of my YouTube channel? I'll just do a reading section. It'd have to be like open source books. Well, not open source, but uh, public domain books. A lot of old stuff, probably. Okay. So what is the family structure? And I guess I'll put family structure in quotations because this doesn't necessarily have to be families, but basically what groups in the community are we looking at here? Okay. So let's go to community, and we are organized into, let's see, organized into specialist groups. Okay. Uh, okay. So so now we need to keep that in mind then. If we're going to have groups of people who can specialize in things, that may impact projects because now we're not just sending one or two people, we're sending a group of people who have a specialty. So we'll just have to role play that and remember. Step 2, advanced projects. As we continue to study Western plant life. And now I need an action. What are we doing this week? Uh, I think we'll go with like a corporate hunt team, just because this weapons abundance thing. Um, we'll say that we managed to steal a huge cache of weapons that were going to the corporate military, and we know they're going to find out eventually, and eventually they're going to try and find us. So that's the main villain. Is the corporation from the corporate city is going to send a hunter team after us at some point. And so I guess maybe that's kind of a another problem is that because we're not, worker citizens of the city, that's sort of our status. Focus on the cards again. Okay. Project for 2 weeks. We're going to have a project to scout out the sprawl. Oh, my stream seems to have